Good morning. This is Joy News Interactive with me, Bernice Abubedu. On our plate today, we'll be talking about blood donation because today is World Blood Donation Day. We'll also be talking about street funerals. Have you come across any, and what do you make of them? I'll also bring you a trending video to light up your day. Here's how to get interactive with us. Find us on Facebook. Our name is Joy News on TV. When you get onto Facebook, we've posted the issues we are discussing here. Please leave your comments in the comment section. You can also tweet at us at Joy News on TV. Alternatively, you can send me a WhatsApp message on the number 0560 800,000 0560 800 000. So let's get down to business. Now, how would you feel if you came face to face with someone who's alive because you gave them blood? Well, according to the National Blood Service, in Ghana, only a few Ghanaians are regular voluntary donors. Have you donated blood before? I've been finding out from some of you. And if you haven't, would you consider because of these benefits? Now, one is that donating blood can help reduce the risk of heart attacks and cancer. It can also be beneficial for those of you who want to lose your weight. You can burn up to 650 calories with every pint donated. So we've been out on the streets to find out from some of you what you make of this. But before we go there, let's get onto Facebook to find out what some of you have been saying about that, and we'll get onto Facebook shortly to find what you've been saying about that. But you can send me a WhatsApp message on 0560 800,000. Today we'll also be talking about some terrible conditions that school children are living in some parts of the country. Now, imagine visiting your child or ward in school only to find them sitting on a ladder, a jerry can, or popularly known as kufuor gallon, and other objects for lack of furniture. Well, that is what students of Mpasaaso number 2 junior high school in the Ashanti region have had to endure for some time. But before we get into that, let's get onto Facebook and let's talk about blood donation. And all right, let's talk about education first. Now, Magdani Stephen says, bad news, propagandists. What about numerous good schools with good facilities? Okay. When are you also going to say something about them? So that's an attack on us. For all you know, they had furniture, but due to the recklessness of some students, they're damaged. There's a whole conversation going on there. He's had 5 replies already, and I want to see what the conversation looks like over there. So Theophilus Taki, oh well, that's too harsh. Nana Obobo Sompim says, how come you also have some sense, but you chose to say those words? Okay, well, I'm sorry, but I thought the conversation was going to be more, on the issue, but it looks like there's some personal attacks. Theophilus Taki, well, he's calling him something I can't say, but he says, how can you say this is what the work of a journalist is? And he's saying he's not sure. Well, and there's on and on and on. Nana Obo Bosompim comments, and Magani Stephen comes back. Nana Obo Bosompim comes back. Okay, so there's a lot of interesting comments over there. But Pius Apone says, do parents not shoulder any responsibilities anymore? My child enjoys free education here in the UK, but I just paid £10 towards the cost of an educational trip. What is the contribution of your parents? Because back in the days, we used to buy our own tables and chairs. So here's someone sharing his experience in the UK with us. Probably parents should look at investing in their kids. So the government is giving them some form of a subsidy, maybe in tuition. The parents should also show some interest and probably get their children furniture. And that's what Pius Apong is saying. Now what something says, is this a case of misplaced priority or shared negligence? It all points down to bad leadership in all corners of our economy. Will any good leader in our community send their awards to these schools? A question a lot of people ask all the time. The poor are always in the middle of such misfortunes. Ghana must work again from all corners. And he says, #change now. Vendibu Evans says, Hey Ghana, there's no single day without bad news in this country. Are our leaders sleeping on what after 59 years of independence? Education is still poor. I ask myself, how many of our politicians and leaders have their kids in these schools? He's also asking the same question that Nana Obuobusumpim asked. It's a pity for this poor country with selfish and greedy politicians. Lavinson Ebenezer Chaka, he laughs and says, check the girl in the third picture sleeping in class. He cites and says, Ghana schools for you, lack of visionary leaders is the cause of all this mess. Well, let's go and look at that picture that he's talking about with the girl sleeping in class. Okay, there you have it, comfortably sleeping in class. The third photo there. I'm not sure whether she's sleeping in class or she's looking down, but it looks like she's in the sleeping position. But let's make some more comments there. And Little Dundee Love says, let's come down a bit. Little Dundee Love says, I don't even understand why people are happy in following politicians. Look at the way children are suffering in schools. Even a desk which does not even cost more than 50 cedis cannot be provided for them, and you see an MP of that town riding a V8 which cost billions of cedis and says, oh God, save us. And GH the guard to me, Papa B says, let's all look at this with corrective lenses. I think that's the point. We all want to see it get better. It's very unfair. So the government, philanthropists, NGOs, associations, individuals, etc. should come to the aid of these kids. Psychologically, they would not perform well or are not performing well at all, he thinks. This also tells us that circuit supervisors are not visiting these schools to report to the district education directors for them to be provided with desks. I'm not sure we can say that sometimes the reports are made, but you know, bureaucracy and all that. Sudri Johnson says everything must not be put on the government. What is the PTA of the school doing? The parents of these children themselves are not caring enough, and it comes down to the issue of responsibility, and people are calling for parents to participate. I remember well, when I was growing up, seeing some students carry their own desks to school. That was criticized, but then someone thinks it's okay because it places collective responsibility. Okay, so Julius Aquariba says, what a pity. Officers sit on 90-degree chairs. I don't know what that is, but yet they do complain of body pains. Then how much more those on gallons for several hours? And he says something must be done. Let me pick some of your comments here on WhatsApp. This one says the youth of today are really in an era of no future, just because of lack of visionary leaders. And he says that and says God should come to our aid. This is from Ike at Agona Nat office. And this one says that, so this won't convince me to donate. Says, okay, you're talking about the blood donation. Okay, we'll get there shortly. But this one says, I thought JM was on top of educational problems. You say, and you're saying God is watching. And this is William Smith in Kumasi. Okay, so let's move on with that. Let's move on to Facebook and pick a few more comments, then we can move on. Swanky Lucky Agu, you have some names. So Swanky Lucky Agu says, if the government provided that school for them, the government should equally provide long desks for them. We should also remember that these ones need help. So we've been sharing a lot of ideas, but what about organizing a few people, you know, getting some money together and helping out these kids? Sometimes if you want to wait for the government, it may take you forever, probably eternity. This one says the community should be held responsible, and this is coming from Josh. And this one says, it's simply because our leaders are not helping us all. This is Zora Bedu at the Sebra Pharmacy in Konongo. It's been a while. And this one says, people must learn to be self-sufficient. I think it's important that we also get responsible, you know. But, well, let's move on and let's talk about this, a very disturbing issue to a lot of people. Now, scores of young men and women, motor riders in Rastafarians, took over the streets last Saturday in solidarity with the death of their friend who who died through a fatal motor accident on Domi of Fanko Road last April. Now, I was coming to work on that day and I saw what happened. It wasn't a pleasant sight. The roads were blocked. These people had taken over the streets. Some were, stripping. They were drunk. I just couldn't I couldn't understand what they were doing. But I want to find out from you if you have ever seen such a street funeral where people are doing, risky things. Let me put it that way, in solidarity. Your friend is dead, but they want to do something. I don't know whether they want to wake the person up or they want the person to feel that they love him so much. But before I take your comments on this, let me pick a few more here on WhatsApp. This one says, I was just ready to enjoy the show, but Doomso has taken my joy. I'm really sorry. I'm sure you can't hear this, but we're really sorry. And so there you have it. That's a photo. But if you know someone who has Doomso but wants to watch, you can get onto the internet, watch on our YouTube channel. You're streaming live now. So there you have it, a picture, a photo of what happened on Saturday. Now look at that. I think that is really dangerous. There were a lot of people. I witnessed it myself and I was wondering what was going on. It was actually a funeral. But this story has had 16 shares already, and Nana Bobusumpin II says, I happened to be around the area at the same time the late Bobo Kala's remains got to circle. The scene looked very clumsy with a smell of, well, he says he smelled wee taking over the air. Initially, we were in the car. Let's calm down a bit. Alright, says that we were in the car in which I was driving. I thought it was the late Okala's body that was getting so much funds, only to be told it was a young Rastafarian of about 34 years. The motor display was marvelous but very risky. Yes, it was risky, people, and they didn't even have helmets on. And says there were hundreds of people, young girls and guys, old passers-by, all enjoying the display. There's a lot to that comment, but let's move on. Magani Stephen says, these habits have been going on always. You're just looking for a way to... Oh, Stephen, nobody has blamed JM. Oh, because of his motor ride around town during the weekend. Oh, really? Nobody is associating it with that. I think, I don't know where the president, rode, but I think they were at separate locations. And Mahama Bakojo says, where is the lawlessness in this? Is it because these brilliant guys are uneducated and do not possess a certificate? These guys are endowed with potential and talent that can be harnessed for Olympic Games and other local sporting events. That's Olympic Games, but not on our roads. This one says, tell the sports minister to use he should raise revenue by promoting their skills, or arrest them with a charge of lawlessness and feed them in jail with taxpayers' money. And I am the real Shatter Sanji. It says, job creation should be the aim of every government. I think the government should create an atmosphere for motorbikes riding competition annually carried to accommodate these skillful riders. I know there was an event like that sometime earlier this year, but it was by a private person. But should we be doing this on our streets? Should we have street funerals? Should people be allowed to ride, anyhow in town because a colleague or a friend is dead? That's what we're asking. Mark Fish says, the same incident happened at community mortuary at Akemota last Friday. It even resulted in a fight and people were seriously brutalized. And Vendivo Evans says, I hope this will not result in more fatal deaths than what they claim they are mourning. Angel Nanan Ketia says, it's bad and dangerous. Must be out to stop this. And this one says, street funerals, political rallies, religious bodies, all these cause a nuisance on the road. It's one of the social problems. And this is coming from Josh, and Sami is saying that sometimes I feel ashamed and disappointed being a Ghanaian in the 21st century. Students still do not have chairs to sit on. Ghana, Lord, come and save as let's pick a few more, then we'll break it. Perez Ewanam Aklasu says the police officer is overwhelmed by the pictures himself and is obviously struggling to answer questions. So if you get onto our Facebook page, you see the photos clearly. You see that there were some police officers standing by. You're watching Joy News Interactive with me, Benis Abubedi. When we come back, we'll be talking about blood donation. Have you ever donated blood before? Please stay on. Thanks for staying on Joy News Interactive with me. We've been discussing some really interesting issues, but let's talk about electricity, because one of you said you couldn't watch the show because you had done so. And so the Electricity Company of Ghana has been apologizing to Ghanaians for wrongful billing and overbilling as well. And we went onto the street to speak to some of you. Let's take a listen.
When it comes to money issues, we don't joke about it. So you can't tell me I paid this and I'm paying more than that, and now you come and tell me it's a mistake. No, we don't deal with such things. You know, Ghana is very hard to earn money. So things involving money, you have to be very careful not to make any mistake.
Apologizing for overbilling of the people of this country is not enough. I think he has to wake up. They should work hard and make sure that they serve the good people of this country better. Electricity has become a bigger issue in this country, and for somebody to see someone and say that he has just apologized, I think it's not enough.
Tell him he's not good, doing a good job. I mean, me per se, I'm not really happy because I don't know the number of appliances I have in the house. I mean, buying 100 cedis every week is too much.
As a Ghanaian, I don't really believe him because it's the same thing that goes on all the time. But as a citizen of this country, I think we have to give him that respect and see if he could do something about it. But I don't really believe they can do something about it. And if it's a software issue, it shouldn't be anything that would take that long. It should be corrected. If it's a hardware issue, fine. But if it's a software issue, it should be something spontaneous. So I don't really believe this thing is going to stop now.
So what you have to say, send me a comment on 0560-800,000. Now let's talk about this. Let's talk about bad roads. Now there's some roads that you ply and they're bad, and even though it's not too good, you can understand because of where it's located and all that. But a highway with sand and, you know, look at that. Just look at it. How do you handle such a situation? This is on the Kaswa Highway, and after rains, this is what typically happens. Let's take a look at it. It's around the Togus area in Kaswa, and there you see cars are struggling because sand has been washed onto the road by the rains. You've been commenting on this, and Frederick Nikote says, okay, he thinks it's not a news story, so we shouldn't report it. But the point, yeah, probably, Frederick, you don't live in the area, so you don't know what it feels like. For a lot of people, they want it said until it is fixed. So, well, until it is fixed, we'll keep talking about it. Jacob Tempuri says, my fear is for the houses on the hills. It is the sand holding the rocks together that is being washed down in bits. Any strong tremor, and we have a massive disaster on our hands. May God continue to have mercy on us. Interesting comments there. Pana Chow says, you see, this is the problem we have in Ghana. How many times do we want rains to continue to be a canker when we can put measures to curb it? It is now a norm in Ghana, and that's what Apana is saying. Stephen Sassy says, that is what you get when your roads are lower than the floor. I don't understand that. Most of our problem in this country, okay, is an engineering problem. Sawan Dainty says, our engineers are only interested in tarring our roads without caring for the sides and pavement. So that's what will happen. We do things haphazardly, and in turn it gives us different problems. Jay Jawildo says, we need generational thinkers as leaders. If not, this problem will never stop. Michael Akpakpo says, who is the cause of this, Joy FM? I wonder what you guys are getting from the opposition. Michael, really? We are not opposing there. Parkway CDS Sempa Apieri says, Is this area part of the places President Mahama toured with his motorbike? We don't know. Daniel Anna Loco says poor engineering work almost on all of that particular stretch. Block Factory SCC was something else the last time, so Daniel knows the area pretty well. And Pan-African Kwame Mausidobe says he has nothing to say. George Adaku says same old story, but is it because it's the same old story we shouldn't talk about it? That's what we're asking. Asante Krobia. Okay, let's do Dixon quickly first. He says he's not surprised. Before the rain, the road was littered with sand going towards Accra near the toll booth. Since December 2015, yet they kept taking one Ghana city. He's talking about the toll. Things like this just make you think, is this country for real? Asante Kropia II says, so why does the park and gardens provide green grass at edges of the roads? The green grass will hold the sand and also absorb some of the water to prevent such incidents. Do they see how the sides of the roads are managed in developed nations? And that's what he's asking. And Seth says, error GH being ruled by error administration. So let's move on to that issue I spoke about earlier, blood donation. Today's World Blood Donation Day. Have you donated blood before? And if you haven't, will the benefits of donating blood, like reducing the risk of causing cancer and heart disease, and helping you lose as much as 650 calories for a pint of blood, will that make you rescind your decision? We've spoken to some people, and here's what they had to say.
Yes, I did when I was in the secondary school. I think 6th form, lower 6, I did long time ago. Yeah, I felt the need to donate blood to save life, so that's what I did. It was not easy, but I did. After doing it, I felt dizzy, but they told me that that's how it is. So I took it easy, went to my dormitory and slept. They gave me notes and some exercise books. That's all.
Nobody came to us before. So anytime I get a chance, I can do it to help people in the country. It's good because it help a lot to help people's lives, to deliver people from any place. It can happen to you, it can happen to you also. So it's good that you can donate the blood to help one another.
If my son or my family needed blood, I can donate it, but to go and give to the hospital freely or for something they are own doing. No, because it can happen to my son or my family. So I have to keep my mind safe.
I hope I lightened up your day, but let's take a few of your comments before we wrap it all up here on Joy News Interactive. This one says, why do we always focus on negative news when there are positive news to help us release our stress? And this is Prof from UDS in Tamale. Okay, it's because we want issues to be fixed. You know, sometimes it's just annoying hearing the same thing over and over again, but we want it to be fixed. And this one says this is both an engineering and a social problem. It might require lots of demolition to fix flood problems in Accra. This one says, I think apology is not enough for the money's lost. Talking about the ECG's apology, they should also compensate us. You didn't add your name and location. Please remember to do that. And this one says, is not okay, it's a bit lengthy, but I'm sorry I can't take your message. This one says the apology must be followed with bringing back our cash after intentionally taking our monies. This is from Bedo at the Separate Pharmacy in Conongo. Well, that'll be it for Joy News Interactive for today, but don't forget the conversation continues on all our social media platforms. We are on Twitter, tweet at us at Joy News on TV. On Facebook, we are Joy News on TV. Alternatively, send us a WhatsApp message, a video of something that's happening in your community, to the number 0560 800,000. My name is Bernice Abubedu. Do enjoy the rest of your day.
Joy News Interactive